Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuoki Kyoto Wins along Hachiro Iba's route. And I don't think he's going to be in the scene. It'd be cool if he was, but we're at Shimbara celebrating with the money that Harada got for protecting the notice board. And Kimikiko has just shown up. So you can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. Thank you for visiting. A geigi in a beautiful kimono stepped through to greet us with a smile that was both dazzling and demure. Her skin was as white as porcelain, with soft red highlights. Her lips looked soft and full, and her hair shone in the light like yards of fine silk. For a moment I stared in awe of her beauty, my own sex forgotten. Something flickered in her eyes, but it was gone almost immediately, and then she smiled, and it was like watching a flower bloom. I am Kimikiko, and I will be entertaining you tonight. Please enjoy yourselves. Food will be arriving shortly. Indeed it had, and once the food had arrived, the party truly began. Man, expensive sake is way different. It just goes down so smooth.
You haven't even touched your food, Heisuke. If you drink on an empty stomach, you'll get drunk before you even have a chance to enjoy it.
Whatever. You know how often I get booze this good? Never! Filling up on food would just be a waste of stomach space.
You sound like a bum. Just drink up.
Hey, just 'cause you drink like there's a hole in your stomach doesn't mean the rest of us can. I guess Harada really holds his liquor.
You having fun, Chizuru? Doesn't look like you're drinking much.
I would imagine she looks like a lightweight. Oh, I can't drink, so I'm just enjoying the food.
Oh, right. Well, make sure you eat a lot of it then. We're here to have a good time, so it'd be a damn shame if you didn't have fun.
Thanks. Still, it was the first time I'd ever eaten anything expensive, although to be honest, I couldn't taste much of a difference. Oh, I've heard rumors that the men of the Shinsengumi were like demons or monsters. But from where I sit, you look a good deal more handsome than that, almost like an actor.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Oh, don't be humble about it. Kimikiko and Hijikata chatted easily while she poured him sake, looking almost too beautiful to be real, like they stepped out of a painting.
Still can't believe they gave all this cash just for protecting a board. I mean, hell, imagine how much you would have got if you caught all of them. How'd they get away, actually? You said they were only 8. That should have been pretty manageable.
Yeah, what's up with that? I mean, you surrounded them, didn't you? How'd they get away? And how'd the guys you actually caught escape? Harada fell silent, his face slipping into a frown. He stayed that way for a moment or two, then looked inexplicably at me.
Chizuru, did you go anywhere that night?
What? I hesitated, unsure of what he was getting at. No, I didn't go anywhere. Why?
You sure? You didn't go anywhere that night?
Yes, I'm sure. I've never left the compound alone, ever.
Hey, what's wrong? Maybe it was just a mistake. There wasn't a moon that night. It was dark. No. I saw her up close. There's no way I made a mistake.
Harada? What are you talking about?
Well, you see, after we'd surrounded the Tosa men who had tried to take down the notice board, this girl showed up. She looked just like you, got in our way. Because of her, our whole formation fell apart.
What? The whole room fell silent. Harada just spoke above a whisper, but each of us could hear him perfectly. A girl who looked just like me?
Well, like they say, crap happens. But tonight, Sano's paying, so let's drink till the sun comes up.
Yeah, way to dance around the issue. I don't want to spoil the party. Seconded. Time to find out just how much of this stuff I can handle. In just a few minutes, Heisuke and Nagakura had the party back in full swing, but I couldn't get my mind off what Harada had said. Then, what had he seen? I felt strange. I felt strange. What would you call something like this after all? A ghost? A doppelganger? No, I was still alive. Was it some sort of astral projection then? Whatever it was, there was something out there that looked just like me, causing trouble. It was depressing.
Look, I'm sorry about that. shouldn't have said anything. It's not like I think you did it or anything. I mean, why would you? It wouldn't make any sense.
No, it's not like that. I'm fine. Please don't worry about me. I know for sure that I was at the temple that night. Besides, I don't think I could even get to Sanjo Ohashi without one of you guys.
You're telling me you still haven't figured that out? And you've been coming on patrol with us for how long?
Well, a long time, yes, but all of the streets look the same, and there aren't any landmarks to help me out. You don't think it's hard to find your way around Kyoto?
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of silly to think you'd actually got it figured out yet. Well, it's been 3 years since you came to Kyoto. Shouldn't you have gotten used to it by now?
Yes, in 3 years, good lord. You think so? Just then, a thought struck me. Oh, Heisuke.
Yeah? What's up?
Do you think maybe the girl Harada's talking about is the one we met? You remember, her name was Kaoru. We met her when we were out on patrol with Okita.
Oh, yeah.
He smacked his leg heartily as if he remembered.
Soji thought the two of you looked like twins or something, but I didn't really buy it.
Oh. He was right. In fact, Okita had teased him mercilessly about it. Perhaps it didn't mean what I suspected it did. I was deep in thought when Harada spoke up.
What are you talking about? She someone you know?
Not really, no. We met this girl on patrol. Soji thought she looked just like her. I didn't, though. I mean, it was hard to tell. She was dressed like a girl.
That was true, too. I'd been disguised as a man, but Kaoru had been wearing a woman's kimono. But did Heisuke only think we didn't look alike because of how we'd been dressed?
I don't know about this girl. But I do know that Heisuke doesn't exactly have a good eye for ladies.
He's got your number.
What? What do you mean by that?
Harada shot back a clever retort, and they were off, bickering playfully back and forth. I watched them yell and gesticulate, but my mind was elsewhere. Perhaps my face and Kaoru's did look similar, or even the same. But if it had been her, then what was her purpose in impeding Harada? Anyone who lived in Kyoto would have known the Shinsengumi and what that board represented. I felt Harada's hand on my shoulder.
Well, they say that there are 3 people in the world who look like you. So, I'd say it's a little early to nail her down as the culprit, right?
I didn't know if there were really 3 people out there with my face, but he had a point. To all appearances, she was just a normal girl. I couldn't imagine someone like her deciding to mess with the Shinsengumi and then just disappear into the night.
Yukimura, tell me more about this girl.
Oh, well, while we were out on patrol a while ago, we met a girl named Kaoru. She looked a lot like me, and, Saito listened quietly, but looked up into my eyes when I finished, his face tense.
This can't be coincidence. We should find and question this girl.
But she didn't look like someone who would want to harm the Shinsengumi, or even could.
Appearances mean nothing.
Exactly.
Are you sure that was the first time you met her?
Yes. Okita thought she looked just like me, although Heisuke didn't agree. How many times am I going to reiterate that?
Are you sure you have no relatives in Kyoto? It's hard to believe such a similar face is just a coincidence.
No, I don't have any. My father never told me I had any either. If I had relatives here, I think my father would have told me to contact them, not Dr. Matsumoto.
I see.
He didn't look entirely convinced, but apparently I'd said enough, because he asked me no more questions.
Well, now that we've had enough to drink, I think it's time for the main event.
Ah, the best part.
Yeah, go for it, Sano. I've been waiting for this all night.
I love that little red drunken face of his.
Right on. Alright guys, pay attention. The stomach is not a common run-of-the-mill stomach. Oh no, for this stomach knows the taste of a blade.
The now quite drunk Harada pulled open his shirt with a lopsided grin, pointing at the ugly scar across his belly. I say sexy scar. The Oiran feigned polite interest.
Hey, that's nothing to brag about. Some punk said you were just a thug who didn't have the balls to cut himself open, and you just had to prove him wrong, didn't ya? Of course I did. I'm a man. Gotta defend my honor.
That wasn't real smart, Sano.
Yeah, commit suicide because somebody challenged you to?
You're afraid to kill yourself, aren't you? No, I'm not. Watch me, I'll do it right now. What were you gonna do if you actually killed yourself?
Well, I figured I'd cross that bridge when I got there.
Then you'd be dead. But if you died, then you wouldn't be able to really cross any bridges, no?
Then I won't think and I'll just go ahead and die. I mean, a samurai is always looking for a way to die, or not. Well then, to honor your, honor.
From out of nowhere, Nagakura produced a brush and its accompanying ink and began to draw on Harada's stomach.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? It's such an amazing scar. You're really lucky there, Sano.
Why'd he give the face a unibrow?
You treat it good. Maybe someday it'll give you a bunch of little baby scars. It's a scar, you idiot, not a girl.
Oh man, I can't take it. Every time you talk, it moves. It's like a mouth.
Apparently, this was hilarious to Heisuke, who cackled uncontrollably, hands wrapped around his stomach, and face red with mirth. Oh, Harada! The three of them cavorted and tumbled around the room like children, and in spite of myself, I began to laugh. The party lasted until morning, or so I heard. I'd left before it ended, for reasons of my own, but I heard plenty about it later. There was a lot for me to worry about, not the least of which was my possibly evil doppelganger. But I found it impossible to feel sorry for myself amidst all that good cheer. Have fun when you can. And now we get to skip again. February 1867. January 1867. Another New Year was celebrated as the chilly Kyoto frost covered the city. I had to weave in and out of the mass of people so that I wouldn't be left behind. Even out here, there are so many people.
Well, it's the New Year's after all. There are so many people who are doing their rounds and paying their respects for the new year. Actually, it seems like most of these people are using that as an excuse to get drunk. Like those three.
We all know what he's talking about.
Well, like I said, it's New Year's. It's well and good once in a while.
We had begun heading back from performing our New Year's greetings. Nagakura, Harada, and Heisuke had come with us at the start, but they claimed they wanted to drop by somewhere, so sometime during the middle of it they split ways. As expected, just as Okita had been claiming. I'm sure they're out drinking. But why are we going to a temple that's so far away for our New Year's prayers? Our headquarters is at Nishihonwanji Temple. Couldn't we have done it there?
Yes. But I figured, since it was New Year's, I wanted to pay my respects to the Kyoto temples that have always taken care of us. See, you just gotta do your rounds and work the crowds in a time like this. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't get it.
Oh. As we continued talking, we were walking between the crowds of people. Ah! I had bumped into a person who was walking by, and it didn't end there. The passerby who bumped into me had dropped their bag, and their coins scattered across the floor. I'm so sorry. I'll help you pick it up. It was difficult picking up every individual coin as people were pacing all around us, but... Is everything right? I'm really sorry about that. I was able to pick everything up, and I stood up. Huh? I noticed that Kondo and Okita were nowhere to be found. How could they have not noticed this? I felt myself turning white. What should I do? Although I'd grown closer to many of the warriors, still, I was a carrier of many Shinsegumi's secrets, ones that could never be told to anyone. If they viewed this as me running away, they would kill me. I have to find them again as quickly as I can. Kondo, Okita, where are you guys? Please answer me if you're nearby. I screamed, but it was pointless. Hordes of people were shuffling around me. My voice became muffled, almost threatened to be engulfed by everything around it. No, I mustn't give up. I must find them. I continued to walk amongst the people, looking for any sign of Kondo or Okita, but... I couldn't find them anywhere, and eventually I had found myself around a back alley where there weren't many others around. I don't know what to do. At this rate, The worst-case scenario swirled repeatedly around in my head, and I froze from nervousness. Maybe I should get back to where a lot of people are congregating. If I hang around here for too long, I may have a run-in with someone unsightly or a ronin. Just as the thought had entered my mind,
Chizuru?
I heard a familiar voice, and I rushed to turn around and find where it was coming from. There stood Iba! What are you doing here? Walk me home, I have no sense of direction.
I could ask the same of you. What are you doing here alone? Where are the Shinsengumi men?
Well, I felt so relieved to see someone I knew again, and I explained to him what had just happened.
I see. Then I have no problem escorting you back to the headquarters to help explain the situation.
Are you sure?
Of course. I mean, we could always say that I found you, and that I insisted on hanging out with you or something.
I don't think I could ask you to do such a thing. But still, thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
Anyway, let's walk back to the compounds. Nishihonwanji is that way, I think.
You think? Don't tell me you're as bad at this as I am. Okay. I was so very grateful for Iba's kindness, and I began walking with him back. But, Iba? I don't think this is the direction toward Nichihonwanji.
We're taking the scenic route. Don't worry, I have no intentions of abducting you.
Alright, but where?
That's a surprise.
No matter how many times I asked him, he dodged the question. Eventually we'd arrived at
a bench?
This is so delicious. I was eating the treat he'd offered me, and I could feel its sweetness sticking throughout my mouth. Supposedly it had originated in a western country, and it was soft, spongy, and rich with egg flavor. Is this that thing he was talking about earlier? Castella? I never tasted such a thing. I was so happy. I couldn't hide my elation, and I had a wide smile.
How is it, Chizuru? How does their Castella taste?
Yep, it's that thing. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious.
I'm glad. I've always wanted you to try some.
Iba looked even happier than I was, and he had a wide-eyed grin as we sat together. As I savored the Castella, I calmed down and asked Iba something I'd been curious about. But why did you bring me here? I think we could have headed to the compounds from there, but it feels like we took a longer route. Iba looked at me like I'd stumbled upon his birthday celebration, eager for me to join in.
Can't I just enjoy the pleasure of having a moment with you? To take a stroll and enjoy a fine snack?
Well, I didn't think Hijikata would have been strict toward Iba's desires, but I wondered, was it really alright to do so? I mean, he was going to take me back to the compounds no matter what, so I couldn't really insist on hurrying, but
it'll be alright. If they make a mention of it, we'll make sure that they know it's all my fault.
As Iba was speaking, something crossed my mind. Now that I think of it, didn't you try and take me out like this before? In a period where I'd become depressed about the lack of clues surrounding my father's whereabouts, Iba had asked Inoue about taking me out in order to get my mind off the situation.
Ah, yes, that's right, isn't it? But you turned me down back then. But this time, you were able to enjoy some delicious sweets with me. I guess I can take this as us taking the next step, eh?
What? Next step? Was he being completely serious?
So, how have the compounds been recently? How's Toshi?
Let's see. Hijikata is just his usual self, I suppose. By next step, I assumed he meant maybe in terms of our relationship growing a bit. It sort of threw me off at first, almost as if my heart had skipped a beat. We had finished our tea, and then we caught up with one another's recent activities. Although I didn't quite remember all the details myself, maybe our kinship came from the fact that we'd befriended each other as children. But nonetheless, Iba had an ear for listening, and I found it incredibly easy to speak with him. After we had left the cafe, Iba led me back to the lively Shimbara street. Oh yes.
What's the matter?
I hesitated to speak up out of fear for ruining the moment we were having. However, I felt like he deserved to know. Supposedly, Takeda is quitting the Shinsengumi. As soon as I'd mentioned Takeda's name, Iba's expression turned dubious.
He is?
Yes, according to the story, he received a message from his hometown and he decided to return home. I don't trust that story. Iba gazed suspiciously at the ground before muttering out loud.
I wonder if that's true.
What?
Well, if he's really returning home as he says, then it's fine. But I wonder how much truth there is to it.
Now that he mentioned it, there wasn't any real proof that Takeda was speaking the truth. It seemed as though he had gradually lost his place in the Shinsengumi. It wouldn't surprise me if this was all a lie to get himself out of the Shinsengumi. Maybe Iba noticed me thinking deeply. He then shifted his tone to a light-hearted one.
Well, even if he's plotting something, I don't see Toshi letting that go unnoticed.
You're right. I'm sure Hijikata knows well of Takeda's current situation.
Yeah, he's no fool.
If Takeda really was plotting something bad, then Hijikata likely already had some countermeasures planned in advance. Just then, "Hey, is that you, Chizuru?" "It really is you, Chizuru. What are you doing here?" "I'm on a date." "If you were going to visit Shambara, why didn't you get into contact with me?" "Sen." Sen noticed Iba beside me, and for a second her eyes grew wide. Then she whispered to me, "Hello, who do we have here? He's so gorgeous. He could be an actor. Are you on a date?"
"Yes, you're ruining things."
Date? No, it's nothing like that." "Oh, you're not. But he's not a Shinsengumi warrior either, right? I have yet to see a warrior of the Shinsengumi that is as refined as he is." I wasn't sure how to introduce Iba to her. So his name is Iba. He's a Hatamoto of the shogunate. He's known the men of the Shinsengumi for a long time."
Well, her introduction isn't wrong.
For some reason, Iba looked a little sad, and then he turned to Sen. I think he wanted to be introduced as my boyfriend.
I'm the Okuzume of the Shogun, Hachiro Iba. I've been a friend since childhood as well.
"Thanks for the introduction. I'm Sen. As you could tell, I am a friend of hers. Anyways, are you an actual Okuzume? Is it alright for you to be walking around like this, casually despite your status?"
Well, technically I'm also overseeing Kyoto. Although this is strictly personal.
"I see," Sen muttered and then stared at Iba. "Why are you glaring like that?" I stared back at her as she stood with intensity. Had Iba said something that bothered her? I was wondering what she was doing with someone who wasn't a part of the Shinsengumi. Wondering why, to myself, she was with you, but, for now at least, you do not seem to be someone who will do her harm. To this I am relieved. After a moment, Sen turned to face and speak with me. "So, how have you been lately? Had the men of the Shinsengumi been causing you trouble?" "No, nothing like that." But then I stopped myself. Of course the men wouldn't be bullying me, but... Speaking apart from myself, the Shinsengumi had not been doing too well. Because of the second Choshu expedition failure, the Choshu had been steadily gaining more and more power. Additionally, the Satsuma had been active, moving to agree that it was necessary to set off Shinsengumi scouts with rumors floating about their suspicious acts. And finally, a new shogun had been appointed after nearly half a year passing since the death of the previous late shogun. Even within the Shinsengumi, it seemed as if Ito's faction was causing friction and trouble among the warriors. To top it off, Takeda was leaving the Shinsengumi. There were just so many seeds of worry. I couldn't bring myself to tell her that everything seemed to be falling apart. As I stood there, Iba put his hands on my shoulder.
"Everything will be all right. I'm here in Kyoto for you as well, so if anything were to happen, you could speak to me at any time. I do intend on keeping my promise of being strong enough to protect you."
"Iba." He was always beaming with courteousness. Thanks to his words of assurance, I could feel my worries melt into the softness of his hands on my back. However, Sen looked at him sharply, almost as if she were glaring at him. "Do you really mean that?" "Sen?" I could sense something was off from the vigor in her attitude, so I couldn't help but turn around to look at her after she asked that. Sen burrowed her eyes deep into Iba, speaking with confidence.
The fate she carries holds a lot more weight than even she knows. And those who are after her are way more powerful than you could ever imagine. For a moment, Iba gazed deeply into her eyes, and he didn't break his stare in return.
Sen, was it? What do you know?
I can't answer that. All I want to do is ask you one thing. Can you really protect her? Chizuru, that is. Neither looked willing to budge from their stares. Eventually, Iba broke the silence.
There's a reason for me to protect her.
His bright clear eyes suddenly faced me.
Even if you don't remember it.
Huh? I didn't quite understand what he meant by that at first, and all I could do was blink. What did he mean? What are Iba and Sen even talking about? Sen eventually softened up a little. I see. Just don't forget what promise you made just now. As long as you vowed to keep your promise, I too shall help you. Sen? I rushed to butt in, but... She turned, walking off into the cold evening without so much as a word. What in the world was going on? Iba and Sen seemed to be talking about me, but... Without the total context of their conversation, the key words that stuck out to me were... I was beginning to wonder, is Iba a demon himself? Or part demon? I mean, I don't know, at some point I was just kind of getting this hint, but probably not. Just thought I'd mention it. This feeling, just in case. But anyway, I had to say, reason to protect me? What's that about? Why are you keeping these things from me? Why can't you just tell me about our past? I timidly approached him, and he turned around. You just said that there was a reason for you to protect me. What did you mean by that? I have no reason for you to... Of course we were childhood friends, but... I don't think that's enough of an excuse for him to risk his life to protect me. But Iba... Don't be sad.
I do have a reason. There's reason enough for me that I would be willing to risk everything I am to protect you.
What? He said it without hesitation, and I was at a loss for words. Is it because we're childhood friends? For a brief second, Iba's eyes were forlorn. Oh, we're hurting him so much, I hate this.
Do you think that is all?
I was sure that wasn't the only reason. Even if he was a samurai, putting one's life on the line to protect someone meant the biggest sacrifice one could make. That went for the shogunate, one's master, or anything close to this power dynamic to justify it. But a friendship formed during one's childhood shouldn't be enough reason to devote one's life to their friend's protection. So why? I don't know. If there's other reasons, please tell me. Iba looked like he thought about it for a second, and then...
I won't tell you. Why don't you think on it?
Darn you! Just tell me, Iba! What is the big deal? Huh? What? Iba had normally been so kind, but today his mood wasn't as nice. It took me by surprise. Is this him being mean or is this him teasing me? What do you mean you won't tell me?
It's not fair for you to constantly make me wait like you do.
I'm not doing it on purpose.
Besides, one could say it's deserved. A little payback, if you will, for not remembering our childhood, right?
It's not my fault if I don't remember. I was caught completely off guard, but Iba just began to laugh.
Well, never mind. Maybe we should head out. I would like to spend more time with you, but I'm sure it'll be an issue if you come back late.
Well, I'm already late since I got split up. Wait, Iba! Iba escorted me back to the main street. The large crowds of people from earlier had died down significantly.
Oh, look, Chizuru, over there.
Huh? I was looking in the direction that Iba was motioning me toward when... Ah, it's the people who lost me.
Yukimura!
Kondo, Okita!
Oh, I'm so glad. We had lost sight of you, so we thought you were abducted by one of those demons. Oh, how boring. I wanted to see you freak out for being separated from us.
He had my number. Well, too bad for you, Iba was there for me.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Okita glared coolly at Iba.
So, I got Okuzume finding lost children now. Or are you so bored you go looking for them? Hey, Iba!
A person had weaved through a small gathering of people to approach us. This person is...
Oh, Motoyama. What's the matter? You seem to be out of breath.
He looks like he's hurt.
Don't give me that. Do you have any clue how long I spent running around looking for you? Quite a while, I assume. Don't act like it's nothing. Ugh. The minute you saw a person that resembled Yukimoto, you just ran off.
As soon as those words were said, Okita smirked.
Oh, geez. Is that so? The moment he saw this kid, huh? Oh, what's going on there, Iba? Oh,
Iba attempted to stand straight and act with decorum in response to Okita, but instead he just played it off and turned toward Motoyama.
Just ignore him, huh? Anyways, we were just doing our rounds to share some New Year's greetings with everyone. What? New Year's greetings? You waste all this time and now you want to do greetings? Let's be off. Excuse us, Kondo, Okita. We'll drop by the compound another day.
Iba grabbed the tired Motoyama and disappeared into the crowd of people.
I see. Well, I can't tell if it was scripted or not. Iba's a sharp cat.
Huh? I wasn't sure what Okita was trying to get at, but either way, I was happy I was able to see Iba on New Year's. There was so much to be concerned about, but I hope we'll have a good year this time. What, is Okita actually worried that, Iba's gonna try to get information about the Shinsengumi out of me or something? Is that what the deal is? April, now we're into chapter 4, April 1867. We'll probably get to skip. So we're at that point at which Ito is just leaving, but I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. So hope to see you in that next video to continue on looking after Iba. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.